So think about the user experience. That's a big thing that we talk about all the time. So there's one aspect of PPC is getting people to actually click on the ad. And then once they get to your landing page, whether it's your website or a different page, there has to be an immediate connection.
This is Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast where we ask the question, what does growth in dentistry look like to you? I'm Katie Polson, a dental hygienist and your host. Welcome to another episode of Growth in Dentistry. I'm Katie Polson, and before we get started, I wanted to remind you to join our Facebook dental intelligence community and come join like-minded data nerds. Come learn from one another. We have a good time in that group. And then if you would be so kind, please go and rate and review this podcast. We read every one of them. We are continuing our theme today on marketing your practice, and we are beyond grateful that Mike Shoun from Affordable Image has joined us today. Thank you so much for being with us. He's a busy guy. We got him landed down, so we're going to do it. So Mike, give me a little bio on you and how you ended up in dental marketing.
Sure. So my company, we're a marketing company. We've been in business for 25 years. Before there was actually such thing as word as a podcast. Mm-hmm. The internet was barely anything when we started this. But over the years, obviously, as marketing's changed, we've added all the different services and things that make marketing what it is. Probably about almost 20 years ago was when we first started doing marketing for dental offices in Phoenix, Arizona. We're based in Phoenix, Arizona. And we had a lot of success with them. And we were actually invited or were asked to come to speak to some events back then to dentists about marketing. And that's literally how it started. And it just kind of grew from there and grew very quickly. I was then invited to Southern California. And I spent I'm so busy out there. I ended up moving out there. My company is based in Arizona, but there's so much going on in Southern California. I went out there, did a lot of speaking out there, and just kind of grew from there. And I got a lot of other referral partners around the country that would refer us around the country. So we went from a Phoenix-based business to a Southern California-based business to a national business in a matter of probably about 3 years. And let me tell you real quick about dental and why I'm in it. Honestly, is I love it so much. I love the passion that dentists have, and I love the passion that the people that are in it, like my partners at Dental Intel, Curtis, loves. He has so much passion for what he does at Dental Intel, and that just makes me more excited and makes me want to do better. My company want to do better, and we've talked a little bit. And your passion for what you do, and the people that are in this industry stay in this industry that are good at it. Stay in it for a number of years. And so I also see the doctors as, that they're so smart at what they do, but they don't get the training on business in general and specifically marketing at all. Really no marketing training whatsoever. So I feel like we are part of our mission, or our really main mission, is to educate our clients and our doctors about how important marketing is overall in their practice, what marketing is, what it isn't, and those kind of things. And so that's my passion. I'm a very passionate person and love what I do. And I want our doctors to be successful. I don't want them to be taken advantage of, because they can be, because they're not familiar with all the things in marketing. So that's my
yeah, I love it. I love it. This dental community is a great one, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. And I'm glad you're here too. So many of our listeners are familiar. Talking about marketing and not knowing a lot. We're going to go from the basics. So some of our listeners might know a lot, and I'm hoping that when we'll kind of be able to span the breadth of knowledge here. So many listeners are familiar with a lot of acronyms. We have a lot of acronyms in dentistry, like PFM and MOD and all the ones. But today we're going to be talking a little bit about PPC and SEO. So pay-per-click and SEO, search engine optimization. And first of all, if somebody hasn't heard of what pay-per-click is, what is it? Why is it important to a dental practice?
You're talking about the acronyms. It's funny. We get used to saying them all the time, and sometimes we forget that people have never heard it or don't know what it is. And whenever I say it or I hear other people say it, and a doctor doesn't know what we're talking or hasn't really heard what the explanation is, they hear the word paper clip as what you stick. What you stick on a piece of paper. And I say, oh, I'm sorry, it's actually paying per PER click, CLICK. And actually specifically is advertising, paying for advertising specifically on Google. And it's going to be when you search something like dentist near me, you're going to see the sponsored ads, and then you're going to see Google My Business ads, and you're going to see the top 10 results on the SERP, which stands for search engine results page. Those three things are going to be on there. You cannot pay for the results in that top 10. That's going to be SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. And then the Google the maps you also cannot pay for. That's actually also part of SEO, specifically doing optimization for Google My Business. What you can pay for is the sponsored ads. Sometimes you see the sponsored ads at the bottom also. But typically, the ones that we want to be on our clients to be on, are going to be the ones at the top. And so those are if you think about it, when people are specifically searching for something, whatever it is, or they want answers, where do they go? They go to Google. Google's the answer tool. So Google does, the reason Google still stays in business today and is the #1 search engine by far is because they give amazing results and the best results possible in their search engine optimization section. That's the top 10. That's the reason that they still dominate, because they take so much effort into making sure that the results they put in that section are literally the best of the best. And they're getting better and better and better at it with local searches and things like that, where they're making sure that the local searches or topics are coming up and dental offices are coming up. That's a bigger thing. But the reason that people go there is because of that. Now, Google doesn't technically make money from that, but the day that the consumer starts losing trust in those top 10 in the SEO section, they're not going to go to Google anymore. They're going to go wherever else they think the consumer thinks that they can get the better information. So it's critical for Google that they make sure SEO is the results are the best. And that's one of the things that my team does. We have an amazing SEO team, the best of the best, and that we make sure that our clients get found properly. There's improper ways to do it, and there's proper ways to do it. Our team makes sure that happens. But on the pay-per-click side, the advertising side, typically anybody can advertise to get those to get found there. Now, Google still does have filtration and things like that with what they're trying to do with those ads. So, for instance, one of the great things about pay-per-click ads. So, say you're a brand new dentist, or you're an existing dentist and you haven't advertised before. Typically, marketing takes a long time to work. It can take months depending on the competition. One of the nice things and the best things about pay-per-click is theoretically you can be found virtually immediately once the ads go live. And those are all text ads. There's no pictures. That's called a display ad. So I'm just talking about the pay-per-click text ads. They can go live right away. Now the tricky part is when do they go live and when do they show them? And there's a whole algorithm, and we could literally spend probably 30, 45 minutes talking about that. It'd actually be fun for me to bring on one of my team for those who want to learn more about the algorithm. That'd actually be fun. Have a separate conversation about that. But Google, if you're brand new and they don't know who you are, and say you just have a brand new website, or you have a website you haven't even touched for 2 years, they're not going to put you in the prime spot, and they're not going to put you in the prime time when ads are being showed. You're going to be showed at 2 o'clock in the morning at the bottom, and maybe even at the very bottom of the PPC, because Google has a reputation also. They want to make sure that whatever they're showing, even if it is an ad that they're getting paid for, that it's still the best thing for the consumer out there, because they see the bigger picture. So there's so many parts and moving parts and pieces that change constantly all day long, several times a day, even with SEO and pay-per-click, that it's not a one size fits all. It's very custom. When we look at it, when we're looking at a dentist, every dentist is unique. Every dentist has a niche and also has a certain market area and target our audience that we really want to look at, figure out how to do our best to get the best opportunities for our doctors. And so that's kind of how that works in a nutshell. I could talk for hours about this. So
I'm going to let you. Just kidding. No, that was so informative and went from the very basic to really, getting into the algorithms of, because I think a lot of people, when they get into PPC, they don't understand that, like, just because you paid for an ad doesn't mean it's going to show at the time that you want it to. So
absolutely. And there's also another critical thing before I forget, is very important, is the ad, what you're paying for is it's all based on what your competitors are willing to pay for. It's actually an auction. Mm-hmm. It's a real-time auction. So say you went in and you wanted to pay 50 cents for a click for a certain search term, and you were the top one. Well, your competitor the next minute could see that, and they could raise that to $1. Or we see certain search terms in certain cities that doctors are willing to spend $100 per click to literally keep their competitors out of those searches, to make it so where they got to spend thousands of dollars on ads to even kind of compete. Specifically with dental implants was going to be the main one, because it's a bigger number. But how we look at that, also, again, there's so many variables here with pay-per-click. How we look at it is if there's a search term the doctor wants to be seen in, and it's so highly competitive and they don't have the budget for, or maybe we just say, hey, we don't recommend that at all, because you're not going to get your ROI. But there's other search terms. People are searching for things for different in different ways, and they say things different. So we can try to maybe go after some other search terms, maybe that don't have as much volume, that also don't have the people that your competitors are spending the money on. And then we, instead of having one that we're going after for, a big number, we go after 4 or 5 that we try to get into the client that way. So there's a number of ways to do it, and literally it's an ongoing thing. The way we do it is our team's looking at that stuff on a regular, depends on the service. It could be a daily basis, it could be a weekly basis, depends what level of service our clients are paying for. But it literally, you could look at it multiple times a day, because it's changing so rapidly, changing and things like that. So it's not as cut and dry as many people think it is. And and to be honest, I feel like sometimes Google wants you to feel like it's so simple, because they don't care. They could care less on your results. They just want, they want that ad revenue. They want to make sure that they're showing the right thing, but they don't care if you're getting a result from it necessarily. They do, because they want you to spend more money, but at the same time, they don't care about it like you do as of the business. And so
what are some of the common, I guess now that you're talking about like how to get going with it, what are some common mistakes that you found with people if they wanted to get into pay-per-click? I guess, what are some of the things that you'd avoid doing?
Sure. So some of the things I just said is thinking that it's a one size fits all, and you're just going to write an ad and throw it out, and not looking at all the parts and pieces, not having the full knowledge. But I'm going to say the biggest thing is going to be doing an ad and just having it go to your homepage, and say the ad is specific to something like teeth whitening, for instance. If they were promoting teeth whitening and it went to the homepage. So think about the user experience. That's a big thing that we talk about all the time. So there's one aspect of PPC is getting people to actually click on the ad. And then once they get to your landing page, whether it's your website or a different page, there has to be an immediate connection. We literally have less than 1 second to connect with that person. And so if they're specific, if they know what they're looking for, if they don't know what they're looking for, they'll take 3 seconds to decide if they're staying. If they know what they're looking for, they don't see it in less than the second, they're clicking off and they're going to the next ad. And so we tell our clients, we suggest to if you're going to do it right. Create an actual landing page that is really a sales page. So if you think about this for a second, if you're going to Google and you're searching for something specific in dentistry, you know that you're looking for it. You want this information, you want it quick, and you want it now. Rather than just sending to them a landing page on your website, we like to actually create a separate page that's only about that information. We call it a funnel. They get to the page, they read the top, they read the next, they read the next. The funnel, the goal is to get them to either do one of two things: make a phone call. If we can't get them to make a phone call, then we want them to fill out a form, some kind of form that says, contact, I'm interested in this service, contact me, as soon as possible, or something like that. That's the goal of that, versus just randomly sending them to your homepage and letting that person just hope to find what they're looking for. So to do a really strong pay-per-click campaign, you really have to have that full concept thought through. And say you want to promote multiple services, we're going to recommend that you do multiple landing pages for each of those services that connect exactly to whatever it is that your message is. So you're writing a message in that pay-per-click ad, it's text only. That message needs to immediately connect with that person's or that landing page.
So do you recommend on that specific landing page for them to be able to click to schedule then, or do you want to push them a little bit? Is that too far down the funnel?
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. Absolutely. So this is one of the things that I'm extremely passionate about, and I'm trying to get the information out to our clients about online booking. How, if you think about it, we do everything online now, especially from the last 2 years the things that have gone on. Everything's online. You're ordering your groceries online. You're ordering everything. Your food's coming to you, being delivered from random places, everything's online. But yet, overall, in the dental community, we still see a massive disparity of the amount of doctors that are actually giving their clients a chance to book online. And we're out there trying to tell them how important it is. And really, as far as I'm concerned, it's the number one thing after you figure out the rest of your message that you do, because that's where your clients are. They're online. And we want to give them that option to book online. You're not always open and available when your patients or your potential patients are, whether it's early in the morning, at lunchtime, they may not be able to quickly make a call, but they have a few minutes to look on their phone, or most often at night when people have time. You think about moms out there, busy moms. Sometimes the only time they have is at night or early in the morning, and the offices aren't available. But they know that they went through your thing, your site, your landing page, and they're like, yes, I want to make an appointment. And now we have a phone call. The phone call goes and no one answers the call. Now we've just frustrated that potential patient. Now we can still give them an option to fill a form online for the office to contact back. The problem there can be if the office is so busy and they're not able to return that call in a timely manner, that potential patient's gone on to the next place.
Yeah.
Perfect. We have options for the patient. And that third and really most important option is online booking, because then that can connect them directly into your software to make that time that works for them, and that the office is already predetermined is where they want for that type of an appointment. Usually going to be a new patient appointment, a new exam typically. The great thing about, and so we work closely with Dental Intel's local med product. We actually, as often as we're able to do, we even include it as part of our campaigns for no additional charge, because we believe so strongly in having that online booking portion, because we want results. We're a result-driven marketing company. We want our clients to have results. It's nice for them to have a lot of these impressions and things like that to be seen, but ultimately we want them to have patience. So the best way for them to get patients is to have an online booking software or the system through local med where they can connect right in there. Now there's systems, and I understand that doctors don't necessarily want to feel like they're going to have an intrusion into their software, but that's where a conversation and education happens. The way local med works, they've been doing this for years, is to be able to they have all the security features, they have all the things necessary. You have full control over your schedule, 100% control over your schedule. So we try to educate our doctors that that's all in place and part of the system, and that you can change your schedule anytime. You have your own dashboard and you're able to make changes. And with all that, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to have an online booking option for your patients. The last and not least, if you don't do it, your competitors will. Your competition is going to do it. if you're not going to do it. And by that time that happens, you're going to be so far behind, it's going to take so long to catch up. And I don't want that to happen to any dentist that we come across, whether they're clients of ours, whether they just hear us on this podcast, wherever. I just want the information out there so they know how important it is to get on online booking now.
Yeah, I love that ability. I mean, just from a marketing standpoint, if you were to click on an ad and be able to have whatever it is, say it's an implant, and to be able to go to a page that addresses what you were wanting, looks like the practice, gives you information to build rapport, and to be able to make the appointment for a consultation right there, you could have it done in 5 minutes and make the decision. And that's what people are looking for these days. They don't want to have to pick up a phone to make the call, because that's intimidating, especially for a lot of people that don't come to the dentist. It's a big step. It's less intimidating to just make the appointment online.
It is. And then, I understand and how we try to explain it is, say that they make that appointment. We still suggest that the doctor's office has a system in place. When that patient is booked, that you do something, whether you make a phone call from the front office. Sometimes we have offices that will send out personalized letter, basically, or a video from the doctor themselves that they're going to meet. We have some offices that take it to that level, but we do suggest that they that they have a system in place to handle those and do the customer service side of it once they make an appointment. Because what we don't want to happen is the customer books an appointment and then there's no contact with the office until they come in. We want to make sure that they have that full contact there. So
yeah, that's really good. So we're big into metrics. We're a data analytics company. So what are some of the key metrics that you guys track with pay-per-click to see if it's working? Because sometimes that can get lost in the weeds a little bit. And marketing is how do I know that it was worth the investment, I guess?
Sure. So we look at pay-per-click from a number of ways. Let's just maybe work our way backwards. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to book appointments. So in the perfect world, we have the local med up and running, and we actually have the information, so we know how many appointments are coming through that exact campaign. So that's the beautiful thing about local med working with my team, is we're able to have individual tracking for each campaign that we do. So we know which campaigns are working based on the results that are coming through that online link. So that's number one. Number two and number three, I guess, are going to be phone calls. We actually track the phone calls, so we know how many calls are coming in off that particular campaign, and then also the form fill outs. So like we talked about, if there's form fill outs, we're also able to track that, so we know how many came in. And then last, I'm going to say, but not least, is impressions. With pay-per-click, impressions gets lost. I think sometimes people don't overlook at it and don't see the importance of it. So with marketing, especially in dental, people are not in the market necessarily right now for dental, or maybe they're doing just a little bit of research, and so they're not sure what they want to do. So even if they don't click on your ad and they see your ad and it's well written and they know it's from you and there's some kind of recognizability from that, and it can even have the same message, maybe, that say we did a postcard for a mailing or another ad, a display ad, or some other kind of advertising promotion. That's an impression that gets in the mind of the consumer and kind of helps that buying journey, the process for the consumer to turn into a patient of a doctor. So those impressions are important, and they can actually make a difference. So we track that as well.
Yeah, really great, good information. And you're talking about leveraging. I mean, we've talked a lot about leveraging new patients, and I think that's pretty obvious to the average person. Maybe if you don't know marketing, is if you pay for an ad, the goal is to get new patients. But I would like, and I don't know the answer. I don't know if there is an answer to this, but is there a way that you can leverage PPC to retain patients, to keep the patients in that you have in your practice? That's
an interesting question. So in theory, you say you target an area, because also with pay-per-click, we can do geographical targeting as well as demographic targeting. So in theory, if you did an area all the way around your practice, even the Google doesn't know if they're your patient or not, because that's not public data. That's not data that we can feed into the system. So theoretically, everyone, even your patients, are going to see those ads. What, if it's a pay-per-click ad and they do a search, or if it's a display ad, or even like a Facebook ad. A Facebook ad would be something that we would like them to see. And I could talk about that in a second, but that's something. But for sure, would not be what we would lead with. That would almost be what we call just a byproduct of pay-per-click. We would not even suggest that being on the front lines of it. We would much rather have them have a whole plan in place. So if you think about it, even sending out a note card, sending out a happy birthday card is part of that marketing, is part of that message. One thing I always try to tell my clients and our doctors is that if you think about marketing in a simplistic form, it's a message. You're communicating a message to your prospective audience, your prospective target, and your patients, which are your patients. And that message comes in many forms. It can be a business card that's handed out. It can be a pay-per-click ad. It can be a SEO. It could be social media. There's so many forms that it can be. But even all the different things that you do as an office, sending out letters, sending out email reminders, that's part of the marketing process. And putting that impression, even though it's an email, there's an impression that they may have saw. They might not have even read it, but they saw your logo. That impression goes in their mind and helps them be remembered. But we would always suggest a specific plan of a strategic plan for recalls, or maybe patients that have not booked their appointments. We would suggest a whole plan for that.
Yeah. Good answer. I just was, as I was running through it in my mind, it was like, I wonder if there's a way. You grazed across Facebook ads, which I guess is another way of pay-per-click. It's not in Google, but it's through Facebook.
Yeah. So just really quick on Facebook ads. So if you think about the pay-per-click on Google, people are specifically looking for your service. They're physically typing, they're thinking about, I need a dentist, I need whitening, I need whatever, I need an implant. And they're typing it in, or I need whatever, dentist near me. They're putting it in Google, they're finding an ad. Now think about this. You're not the only ad that's on there. Your competitors are on there. Your competitors are down on the GMB. They're on the SEO. But with a Facebook ad, you're putting an ad out there, or an Instagram ad, or even a display ad in Google. People aren't necessarily thinking about dentistry at that time. You're literally the only message about dental potentially at that moment in time to connect with them. You don't have any other competition in dentistry. You have competition and things that can distract them, like other videos or whatever things they might be searching about. But the beauty of those type of ads is you can create a patient that may not have even been thinking about dental. That's why we like those ads. We like a mix of Facebook, Instagram, click. It's a great mix, because you think about the pay-per-click too, there's a lot of competition. And guess what? Those patients are checking out the competition. So a patient that comes through Facebook that hasn't looked at your competition can theoretically be a better opportunity for you, because they're not shopping around. Whereas that patient that found you on pay-per-click, right there, they're seeing all the other ads for the other people. They probably checked them out. So it's a different mentality there. Back to touching on SEO, why I like SEO is if you have someone that's looking in the SEO or the organic section, that means they're educated. They know that this top one is advertising. They know that the bottom, that top 10 is where the best results are. So we love that. We actually love the concept of where we want to dominate the SERP page, search engine results page. We would love to have, in a perfect world, our clients have several spots on the organic section. That top 10, they're in the map somewhere, and they're in the ads. I mean, that's a perfect world where we can, and that takes time, because it can take months for SEO to work, and to work in that for those particular search terms. to be able to get that kind of domination. Same thing with the maps, but that's our goal with our clients, is we want to dominate those areas for the services that our clients are looking for.
Yeah, because then your name is in 3 different places, just in one space, right? I mean, that,
Right.
yeah, that
Imagine,
would be great.
yeah, patient sees that, they're going to be like, this is probably the dentist to contact, because they've seen those 3 impressions. They made him see him a couple other times, and now it's going to be a better opportunity for that doctor's office to have a patient.
Yeah, really good. Well, I'm in marketing and I learned something, people. So you better have learned something. We asked the same question to every one of our guests, and that is, what does growth in dentistry mean to you?
Right. Well, I love that question. So I'm a marketing guy. I'm a marketing person through and through. I believe marketing. I think marketing. So that question for me, actually, I don't think about it for me. I think about it for our doctors. And every doctor has a different vision and a different dream for their plan for their growth in their life. And so we look at it from the doctor's perspective, because that's ultimately our job, and our goal for what we do as a company is to help our clients grow. I love the name of your podcast. Our job as marketing is to help our clients grow their patient base, to be able to meet their dreams, whatever those dreams may be. It may be, we have clients that want 10 practices, and we have clients that just want maybe 1 practice that they grow to a certain level, and then they're able to maybe scale it back to 3 days a week. And we have them all in between. And so that's how I think of growth, is whatever the client wants, and we try to help them. Even if they don't have their complete vision, we help them with that. But I would say my personal ultimate idea for growth for me is to be able to do what I'm doing right now with you, and talking about marketing and getting the message out to our clients and letting them know how important marketing is, all the different pieces and all the new things that are happening. Also working with all the various people in our industry, like you, Dental Intel, all the different partners we have, whether it's a CPA or an attorney or an equipment rep or finance person. We want them to know about marketing so that they can educate the clients and the doctors as well on how important marketing is. So for me, growth personally is trying to get as much information about dental marketing to our doctors as possible, and just keep seeing it growing from there.
Great. What a good answer. Well, this has been fun for me. I've loved it. This has been Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast. Again, special thanks to Mike Shoun, of CEO of Affordable Image. If they want to find you, where can they do that?
They can go to my website, www.affordableimage.com. Also, I'm available. I'm personally available. If you want to email me, mike@affordableimage.com. Questions or whatever, if you just want to brainstorm. I have an amazing team behind me that are all experts in their fields that can help. So yeah, we're bottom line, we're here to help however we can.
Awesome. I'll put those, you're welcome. I'll put those links in our show notes as well. And you can find that information also by visiting our webpage at dentalintel.com. Again, thank you to my marketing department for all of their work on this podcast. I'm Katie Polson. Keep growing.